just come across Action for ME's YouTube video for the Ultimate Pillow Fight, which is supposed to raise money for Action for ME and for people who have ME. And I've noticed that they've disabled comments and voting on it. And I had to ask myself the reason. And looking at some of the comments that have been sort of replies that have been left on there, but the comments have been removed, it seems obvious that they were getting quite a bit of stick from people with ME. And it seems strange that a charity who's supposed to support people with ME gets a lot of flack from the very people that it supports. Well, I think that the reason I'm making this video is so that people can reply. Now, hopefully this video will show up alongside Action for ME's video in the search engines, and you can have your say, because I don't censor my videos. And there are things that Action for ME needs to answer. For a start, there's this conference that's happening at the Royal Society of Medicine on the 28th of April. Now, all of the people who are attending this conference, all the main speakers are psychiatrists, and those who have any medical opinion really support the psychiatric view. The only charity that supposedly represents people with ME who are attending is Action for ME. Every other charity has condemned this conference, apart from Action for ME. And the reason being is that most of the speakers that will be there support a psychiatric view of ME and believe it's psychosomatic. Now, Peter Spencer, the chairman for Action for ME, has said this in Interaction, which is the Action for ME's own magazine. He says that Peter Spencer has no qualms about attending the event to ensure that patient perspective is on the agenda. He told Interaction, "It is better to have a balanced debate than for different factions to exist in parallel worlds, where they do not engage in dialogue or work together or increase our understanding of this debilitating illness." And that sounds all very good, but the fact is, and he needs to take this on board, that Action for ME were the only group who were even invited along. Now, doesn't that say something? These men who are running this, these men who put together this conference, will only have Action for ME to come to their conference because they do not say anything, because there are no threat to them. Other leading ME charities have spoken out against the methods of the psychiatrists, particularly Simon Wesley, who's been probably one of people with ME's worst opponents in terms of causing more harm to people with ME than probably anyone else with his ideas of somatisation. And who completely ignores all the biological biological research that's been done, biomedical research that's been done into ME. He completely ignores this and maintains this idea that his views are in some way scientific when they're not. And yet Action for ME doesn't mind standing by the side of this man. And they're even involved in the PACE trials, which again has been set up by him. The PACE trials are so heavily leaning towards psychiatric view of ME. They use the Oxford criteria, which allows for all types of psychiatric cases to come in, just so that it looks as if GET and CBT actually work. When the vast majority of people who have ME who have tried these things say that they either make no difference or they make them worse. So, and yet Action for ME is still involved in these PACE trials. It's another thing we need to ask. But I thought I would rejoin Action for ME because I thought it would be good to be a critical friend rather than just stay from a distance and voice my opinions. Of course, the problem is with Action for ME is that they don't allow debate, and the fact that they censored people writing things on their YouTube channel just proves the point. Anyone who dares to criticise them, they just ignore. And even their own members, they appear to me to just ignore. I've emailed them a few times over this issue about the RSM conference, and have I received a reply? No, not once. They do not want to reply. They do not want to answer. And I think that until Peter Spencer and Anthony, Professor, sorry, my brain isn't working quite so well at the moment. What's his name? Professor Anthony Pinchin actually said to Simon Wesley and all of his clan, Peter White and all the other psychiatrists, that they won't be involved in something like this, that nothing's going to happen. AFME have huge clout. They make themselves out to be the charity for people with ME. And if they were to say they won't go to the RSM conference, they won't be involved, and they made it public and announced to the newspapers their opposition, it would make a huge impact on the government's and the government's plan of categorising people as psychiatric cases who have ME, and of the farcical ME centres that have been set up, which only offer CBT and don't actually deal with the biomedical problems that people with ME have got. They're not even bothering to research it, and yet AFME still supports them. Okay, they might help. These centres might help for some people in managing their illness, but in the end, what they are doing is being used by these psychiatrists to try to force a psychiatric view of ME onto people. And until Peter Spencer and his and AFME's medical advisor, Professor Anthony Pinchin, actually stand up against this, nothing will change. They have a lot of clout, and it's about time they actually did their job and started to represent people with ME. Now, would I give any money towards this ultimate pillar fight? Well, personally, no. I think the money would be better spent giving it to something like Invest in ME, who are doing work into the biomedical causes of ME. In fact, all of the studies that are being done into the biomedical causes are being funded privately by ME sufferers and a few charities. And the government's not funding any of these things. And that would be the best place. If you were going to put your money anywhere, put it there. I personally wouldn't put it with AFME. I know that I've just paid a subscription to them, and perhaps that was foolish, but I felt I needed to be a critical friend, even if it falls on deaf ears. Now, please feel free to make comments on this, make your own videos. Hopefully this will show up in the search results for Action for FME, for AFME, Action for ME. Cool. Dear, my brain isn't very good, and other people will make comments. We would love Peter Spencer and co to actually respond to people's concerns. Not to try to pretend that they're in some way engaging in a debate with these people. The fact is that there is no debate really. Simon Wesley and co, that they hold the agenda, and the fact that Action for ME are the only charity that's involved in this conference or in any of the other work just goes to prove how psychiatrically based, how AFME is of absolutely no threat to these men who are seeking things for their own agenda. So come on, give us an answer. And feel free, anyone, to post a response. I know it's been a bit of a rambling video. It's my poor attempt to try to open a true debate. Bye for now.